Hello and welcome back to Death of the Algorithm. While I try to keep up with all the new stuff that's coming out, I don't always make a video reviewing it. Sometimes I don't like the thing, or I just don't have much to say about it. So instead of forcing myself to talk about a bunch of things and shit out mediocre videos every time I watch something, I figure I can periodically do quick review videos, then lump them all together. So let's get into it. I'm going to break this up by medium, and I'll start with movies. I got the Criterion release of this based solely on the fact that it's directed by Michael Powell of Powell and Pressburger fame. The movies they collaborated on were so gorgeous, so I took a chance and got this on a blind buy, and it was a good call. The movie is both dark and colorful in a very cool way. I watched this and the movie called The Sniper pretty close to each other, and it makes for a good double feature. Both are about killers obsessed with women to the point of needing to kill them with varying levels of sympathy. The moral of the story is, there have always been incel weirdos. They're just in charge now. Fuck. A beautifully shot film, directed by a Russian, the USSR kind, about Cuba just before its revolution. It uses alluring imagery to mask just how much shit and violence it takes to win a better world. This, and the next film I'm going to talk about, were kind of research for me in these modern times we find ourselves swallowed by. Anyway, been wanting to see this one for a long time and it did not disappoint. Another in my research for surviving fascism, this film has such a cool, grimy look to it. The dour look to everything goes a long way to show just how hopeless things must have felt in occupied France. If they weren't speaking French, you'd think this thing was taking place in Seattle. The most distressing thing about this film is just how little time the resistance fighters had to, resist. They spent most of their effort killing each other. Aside from a radio smuggling and a messy jailbreak, they didn't get much done. I think almost all the bodies that were dropped were resistance to other resistance. Fucking bleak. A lot has been said about this one, so I won't go on for too long, unlike the movie. The more I thought about this movie, the less I liked it. There's the weird AI use and the weirder Zionist stuff, but mostly it's just another movie about an artist who thinks they have to suffer if they want to make art, the rich who take advantage of that attitude, and that if you do suffer, you'll be rewarded decades down the line with fame. Which is just an idea I don't subscribe to as much anymore. The suffering part, that is. The rich absolutely are always looking for people to fuck in every way they can. That said, Adrien Brody is great in it, and I do love brutalist architecture, so it wasn't a total loss. I was going to make a whole video on this, like I do with most MCU films, but there's just not much to say. It seems to be getting a lot of hate on the internet, but what else is new? The MCU might just be a victim of its own success. Now, anything short of a $2 billion masterpiece, and people will say it's the worst thing ever. Oh well, the flick is average, which is fine. It's got great action, but it's a pretty thin plot. In fact, I don't think there was a B-plot. It seems the whole evil plan the leader had was to piss off Harrison Ford, which feels like it's much easier to do than he made it look. The one thing that happened that really confused me was the leader saying he had to get arrested to further his plan. Why? Bro, that's a bad plan. I don't know. Seemed like a sloppy rewrite to wrap up his story. But I am excited for Adamantium, and I love Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley. Daredevil and Thunderbolts are next, but the real test is going to be Fantastic Four. We will see. I mostly watched this because it had Jacob Wysocki in it, who I know from a bunch of Dropout stuff. There were a few other familiar faces as well, which is surprising for something so low budget. It's mostly a story about weird kids being fuck-ups, and it has a great monologue about just getting through life, which I'm a sucker for. I do not miss being a teen. We all knew someone like Chad. What a dick. I mean, give me one of these a year. It's a crime that this is the first ever 2D animated Looney Tunes feature film. Give one of these to the folks who made Hundreds of Beavers. Go wild. In fact, my only criticism of this movie is that it didn't get zany enough. Go full fourth wall breaking, logic fracturing absurdist with it. Anyway, get that parasite David Zaslav away from Looney Tunes, the blood-sucking, fart-huffing... Hunt, that does it for movies, but if you want to keep up to date with me, I am on Letterboxd at SitMonk. Let's move on to shows. I love the new Dune movies, but I did not like this show. I can't think of a single character I gave a shit about. Everyone was saying this is like Game of Thrones in space, And that just made me glad I never watched Game of Thrones. If you've not watched the Kunk series of specials, stop watching this right now and go binge them. This is so up my alley to the point that I would have to pause the show to laugh. There's just not much to say other than it's a must watch. While working my real job, I've been listening to seasons of Dimension 20 that I've missed and I'm interested in. The latest of those has been The Unsleeping City Season 1 and Starstruck Odyssey. The Unsleeping City got me because I love New York City. Top 3 cities I've ever been to in my life, no doubt. I even tried to live there when I was 19, but that's a whole other story. I love the idea of a secret city on top of the actual city, and New York is the perfect setting for that. It's like the comic Fables, but without the Bill Willingham of it all. If you know, you know. It's filled with great New Yorkisms, and the story is pretty emotional as well. Starstruck, on the other hand, was a laugh riot. As I mentioned in my Critical Role Campaign 3 review, I love when a D&D party is just a bunch of fuck-ups, and the absurdist space setting really lent itself to that. Knowing that it was created by Brennan Lee Mulligan's mom, and learning more about his family history, makes me think he was bred in a lab to be who he is today. After I finished, I realized I wanted more of this universe, so now I have to go find the comics. This show is so good. I've only dipped my toe into the comic, but it's hard to see how it could top the show. I'll probably do a whole video on the show once it wraps up. The way they explore the idea that with superhuman power comes superhuman consequences and trauma is so nuanced and interesting. Much more thought out and carefully done than others that have explored the topic. Zack Snyder, I mean, when a fight can level a city, the people in that city are gonna have feelings about that, and the winner of that fight is gonna have some shit to work through after causing so much destruction. Anyway, can't wait for more. Let's move on to books I've read recently and talk about a different D&D show, Critical Role. Specifically, the art book for Mighty Nein Volume 2. I have all the art books from Critical Role. And have a fondness for the series as a whole. It feels like the bigger Critical Role has gotten, the less it's able to directly interact with its fans, which is to be expected. But I'm glad they continued at least printing the beautiful fan art in such a well-crafted tome. There are a lot of gorgeous pieces in here, and I also love all the extra goodies that came with the special edition, especially the coin. Very cool. I give every book 100 pages to hook me, and if it doesn't, I give up and move on. And I gave up on this one. The stream of consciousness thing is a hit or miss with me. I just couldn't follow it, and the characters all seemed like rich dickbags, and I don't know, maybe I'm just too dumb for this one. Going off script for this one, but I just finished this, and it was pretty good. The ending was a bit abrupt and a bit strange, but mostly, I've never hated a main character more. Holy shit, this guy sucks. Every interaction he had with other people was transactional in his mind, and he was just so self-centered that he was oblivious to the obvious shit that was going on around him. I've never rooted against a main character more in my life. Fuck this guy. Just finished the second of the Walter Mosley Easy Rollins stories, and good detective novel. Again, hard to root for Easy Rollins in this one because he is a landlord working for the government to break up a union and get a union organizer murdered, which is a real Venn diagram of people I don't fucking like. But it was a pretty good mystery, and I couldn't solve it by the end, so that makes it good. Can't wait for the third one. I just finished this last night at the show, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty heady book, you know, very philosophical, and it's kind of about how, because we know we're gonna die, we're trying to express consciousness through aesthetic objects like photographs or poems, and how, because we're using human tools like language or a camera, we can't express the inhuman thing that is consciousness and the, you know, without. A lot of interesting concepts in here. Very good read. And again, it's a Venn diagram, but this time of stuff I like. Photography and thinking about dying. I forgot to mention a couple of books. I read both of these recently, both having to do with anarchism in the late 60s, early 80s era. This one just kind of like essays. Very interesting to see hippies from the perspective of they just happened, you know, and the impact of them haven't been felt yet, and the like failures of them haven't been felt yet. And this very much is, wow, the hippies failed. What else can we do? This is by Penny Rimbaugh from Crass. and it's really good. It's called The Last of the Hippies, and this one's called Anarchism Today. I also read Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut. You don't need me to tell you Kurt Vonnegut's good, but this is one of his earlier books. Not quite up to par with the rest of them, but still pretty interesting. Let's move on to comics. There's a lot here as I was trying to make my way through a giant pile, so I'll try to keep it short. I read a few disparate issues of this, and I loved it. I found a few trades while I was recently in New York, so I had to get it. It's simple and not groundbreaking by any means, but I love how far out of their way they go to fit in punk song titles and references for kids who definitely don't catch them. Great for your budding teens. I love Jason's work, and not just because we share a name. This was a more surreal series of stories than the other works of his I've read, so it wasn't as emotionally devastating, but I loved it all the same. Maybe I'll do a whole Pitch Please episode on Jason, Seth, and other cartoonists. Put that on the to-do list. I picked this up because I love the artist Crumb. This is just volume 1 of 3, and it did the job. It hooked me. The world feels deep and strange, and I want to dig in more, so I gotta find volume 2. It has a real Headloppers vibe, and I'm in love with it. I bought this for my friend because I thought she would relate to it. After she read it, she had me read it because I guess I remind her of the boyfriend, also named Jason, in it. I'm a sucker for these slice of life comics, so I enjoyed it. Get it for the anxious woman in your life. This is right up there with Fun Girl for me for funniest comics I've ever read. This guy is such an idiot. A somehow lovable idiot, but an idiot all the same. It's also depressingly relatable, as I fear I was this guy in my teens and early 20s, just without the drinking. I can only apologize to anyone who knew me then. I'm sorry. I've never seen so much dick sucking in a comic. It was honestly off-putting. Do not recommend. Man, what a good Superman story. Even better that it's based on an old radio serial. If you want to raise your kids right, you'll get them this book. It got me so pumped for the new movie. I wish Superman was real and could smash a few fascists I know. This is the biggest thing in comics right now, so I doubt you need me to tell you how good they are. The way they find new and exciting ways to tell stories with these characters that have been around for 100 years is amazing. It pushes the boundaries of characters while highlighting what makes them great in the first place with all the skill of a master storyteller. It's so good, I've been buying single issues, and I'm a die-hard trade waiter. Controversially, I think I might like Absolute Superman best. I just love the idea of Union Thug Superman. But there's also Martian Manhunter, which was trippy as hell, and I loved it. But all of them are aesthetics gold so far. There are a bunch of new Distillery comics, so I'm just going to rattle through them quickly. I don't have them on me because I've loaned them out. The Big Burn, a heist in hell for your soul. What a concept. Like an Ocean's movie, but with eternal stakes. Time Waits seems to be a strange time travel story, and as a Doctor Who nerd, I'm always there for some time travel. You Won't Feel a Thing is from superstars Scott Snyder and Jacques, who did a book called Witches together, and this thing is shaping up to be just as terrifying. City Beneath Her Feet is one I was surprised by how much I liked. It's a cool story of a normie sucked into the spy world for love, but what really hooked me was the cool-ass art. Warm Fusion might be the first Distillery book I dislike. Just too much going on and it didn't hook me. Lastly, Spectrograph released its collection and hot damn it's a good book. Really out there concept, fantastic surreal art, and a perfect twist. Just all around great stuff here. So I haven't listened to much music lately, but here are a few highlights. Found this band from a video of them covering Chapel Roan, which I found very funny. Very much in the lineage of The Clash. I listened to their second record, and it's just a good time. I'd like to see them get a bit more of a punk edge in the future, but maybe that's just me. I've honestly been stuck in a bit of a musical rut lately, and the album The Body, The Blood, The Machine is one of those records that's just been on repeat. This came out the year I graduated, and things were rough under W, and only getting rougher, but goddamn if we didn't make some good-ass, fun punk rock. Gets me dancing every time. This band has another record that's been stuck on a loop for me called East My Love. Very different from Thermals. It's a finely recorded folky rock record full of slower front porch jams, with heart-tugging lyrics you can ugly sing to. It also has a rare Dylan cover that I don't hate. A friend and I want to start a country folk band, and I heard this randomly and I went, damn, beat me to it. It's just a really solid record. If you like that latest MJ Lenderman record, you'll dig this. Another band, I don't remember how I came to them, but the second I heard the song Woke Frasier from the album I Have a Physical Body That Can Be Harmed, I was all in. I don't know what it is about Brits yelling over light industrial noise that I love so much, but damn if it doesn't work every time. This is for fans of groups like Gilla Band or Yard Act, who they may be label mates with. It's gonna make you feel tough. They also have a flavor of some of my favorite local bands here, like my friend's old band, The Eeks, or Ipsy Cool Doom Guys, King Under the Mountain. Anyway, give it a listen if you want to get ready for a fight. On a recent Bandcamp Friday, I picked this up, and what's to say other than no one is pushing ska forward more than Jer. It's funny, it's bouncy, while also talking about some real shit. If you've watched any of their Ska2 Networks videos, you know what you're in for. It's a good time. Hey, outfit change. It's almost like this camera sucks and died in the middle of me talking. Anyway, I also went to the Hamtramck Blowout this year and saw a ton of performers while in a half-awake state. Some highlights for me were Dead Surf, a Metz-esque punk trio that's really vibey. We also have Carbon Decoy, a krautrock doom outfit that blew the roof off the Outer Limits. You also had the lo-fi drum machine noise of Low Exposure, and the fun pop punk of Mango Star, side project or other project of people from Manzinga. One big highlight was my first time seeing Cult of Space Skull, who put on a show so wild I nearly shit. There were tons of good bands that I caught, but because everyone was running on punk rock time, my carefully constructed schedule was thrown out of whack, and I'm not really sure who I saw. Good times though. I also picked up the new Clipping record, which is really cyberpunk. It's super cool, super fast. If you like Clipping, they're still firing on all cylinders, so get it. And I think that does it for this first round of quick reviews. Let me know if you check any of this out and recommend some stuff in the comments. Until next time, death to the algorithm.